Hello and welcome to QED Stata 4 from part S16. Now we're going to collapse the dataset using the collapse command, and that means that instead of having 90,000 rows, we're just going to have one row for each country. That's where this by option comes in here. So cow is the country code, so it says for each different value of this, or for each country, it makes one single row. And then here, if you just put the variables, it will work out the mean of each variable. You can put alternative things in. You could put something like the mean, the median, or the count of how many there are in each case. But if you don't say what it's got to do, it just assumes you mean the mean for each variable. So looking at browse, at the moment we've got 90,000 rows here. But what we're going to do is, say for Algeria, we're going to take all these 1,000 whatever observations for Algeria and work out the mean. Replace it with one single row for just the mean of each of these questions for Algeria, and then the mean for Kazakhstan, the mean for Netherlands, mean for Peru, Romania, Singapore, and so on. So each huge batch of 1,000 or something observations for each country gets replaced by a single row with the mean for all these questions for that particular country. And that's all done with this one collapse command. So I'm going to grab hold of that, take it off into my merry do file, select a little bit and run D, Control D, and then head back to data editor, and here you see the results. So here, still longish, but now it's got 60 rows, there's only 60 countries. So for each of the 60 countries you've got data on in that round of the World Value Survey, here's the average results. And note that these things, they look simple, but in actual fact, they're rounded off, so it's actually, that's 5.541058. You can see down here the format is a fixed 0 decimal places format. You can change that if you want. And there's a few missing values. Countries where, particularly this one, which I think is about euthanasia, I'm not sure. Okay, so pretty much that's ready to go. I think we need to do one more thing, but that's pretty much ready to use that data now. I'm just going to rename there. Okay, so next problem is, as I showed you there, no idea what these things stand for without looking at the labels. So we're just going to rename these, and you know how to do renames already. So I'm just going to show you this slightly more convenient way of doing it. Oops, I still left the S17. It's supposed to be fooling you that I'm typing stuff really rapidly, but I'm actually just copying it straight from the exercise. Yeah, so that should rename. If you put them in brackets, that whole list of variables there will be renamed into these things in that same given order. Yeah, so that's this section here. It does lots of variables at once, so let's just run that. Hopefully something will happen. Yeah, so now that's better. So I can tell that is the euthanasia one, but there's lots of missing values. Yeah, so you can pretty much tell what they all mean. If you forget, then the details are in the value labels, and you can look up on the questionnaire, but it's easier to understand than it was before. Then finally, if you understand that the direction this whole analysis is going, we've got data for country by country, these averages, but this is from wave 7, which was between 2010 and 2014, so I'm saying that most of the data was collected, I'm taking an average collected in 2012, just to simplify it. When I combine this data with the data collected later on, between 17 and 2020, I'm going to have exactly the same variables in that later data set. So I need to know which ones were the wave 6 and which ones the wave 7. So I'm going to stick a suffix on the end of all these. I could have just put wave 6, but I decided to put 2012 to put the year on that they were taken on average. So I want to make this happy 2012, satisfied 2012, and so on. So then the other ones will be called happy 2019 and 2018 and so on. So to do that renaming, you can use the command that's given in the worksheet. Put that in the do file, not in the data editor, the do file, like so. So that renames the same list of things, and when you do a rename, if you put equals, then that assumes that you're adding a suffix. It's such a common thing, it makes it very easy to do. But equals 2012, it just adds on whatever blurb you put there onto the end of each variable name, as specified here. nothing's happened, so I must have made an error. That's the first error of the day. And it's not the same the errors that I've got apart from the worksheet. I thought I got rid of that. I just have to be less lazy and actually type things. Okay, let's try and run that again. Browser. There it is, okay. And so it's added on 2012 to each, see in the variables there. Okay, so now this is ready to use. All we got to go is go to the Wave 7 data and do pretty much similar stuff again with the Wave 7 data, and then we can combine them together. So the final thing you need in the do file for this, before you move on to the other data set, is you've done all this changing around, you've made this new data set, you haven't saved it anywhere yet. So you need to save it in a file so that later on you can bring it back in. That's better. Okay. So as always, this part here, you've got to choose so it works with your file system, and you can give it a name. I've called it World Value Survey 6 Selected Country Data. You can call it something different if you want, as long as you remember what it is. So I'll just run that. So that's saved it. Okay, so that's saved it. Now the next stage is to open the world values data for Wave 7 and do similar stuff, recode, rename, and so on, and then we can merge them. But we'll save that for the next video. Thanks for watching.